Do y'all know what we're talking about?
Bully them. Ow. You don't smack someone.
That's a great way to start off.
Sure.
Yes, it was recording.
No, it was not. That's mean and hurtful.
So-
Why are we doing an intro again?
What are you gonna do about bullying?
I don't know. We've never done this.
He just hit you. What are you gonna do about it?
Oh yeah,
And
we're
he
gonna
just hit
fight
you.
for it.
Ouch.
We're gonna fight
this
for
is
it.
not a good
Turn the other
example.
cheek like this.
Ow. Yeah, we're gonna fight for it. Ow. Yeah, you train the other cheek.
Did you know that if your hand is bigger than your face?
Oh
you're
no,
retarded?
no.
What?
If your hand is bigger than your face, like
What?
C. If
Now
your hand
wait a
is
minute.
bigger
Why
than your
is
face.
why the crap would you bring that up?
You gotta check, Bryen.
Yeah, you gotta check.
Check. I don't
Bryen,
need
do
to check
this.
nothing.
Bryen, do this.
I don't
Bryen,
need
do
to
this.
check
Your hand
nothing.
bigger
I
than
don't.
your face?
Your hand
I
Bryen,
don't
do
need to
this.
check nothing. No, there's no reason to check.
Like this.
No, we don't.
He's too smart to fall for your
I'm
pranks.
not an idiot. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not
Okay.
doing-
What's up, J fam? We are here gathered as a semi-family. We are missing Nick because he's at work, but
And Blake.
And Morgan.
Morgan and
No,
Brooke
they're not in
and
the
Sadie
Tierra. Oh my
and
goodness.
And Lucas.
and Sterling
And Ruby. And Peter.
and
And
basically,
Rednick.
my mother, my very amazing mother, has felt impressed that we should talk about the topic of bullying.
How the crap
Her
heard you that?
amazing
Our
mother.
amazing mother.
Talk about.
Ray gets extra points today.
Brownie points! I'm not froyo. Basically, bullying is a really big problem in the world, like, all the time. It's been a problem for years and years. There's bullying against race, against
Excuse me?
gender, sometimes against...
Excuse me, can you repeat that
anyone.
again a dozen times?
A
Why did
dozen
you say
times.
that?
Against.
Bullying is a problem.
It doesn't look like it.
And I struggled with it when I was younger, and I know Hunter...
You were
struggled
3
with it when
years
he was
old.
younger. And I also know that Bryen gets bullied, but he doesn't really know about it when he was younger.
No, I
He
didn't.
just notice. Because Bryen didn't care what people thought. But
No,
we'll
because
get
they're
to
being
that.
stupid.
There are many reasons why someone might decide to pick on someone else, whether that be because the way they act or the way they look. It can be very bad to pick on someone based on things that they have no control over in any way.
But basically, we kind of just wanted to talk about some experiences that we've had with being bullied or being a bullier at times. People aren't perfect, and sometimes we mess up and we make mistakes because we don't understand. So, who wants to go first?
Chapter 5, next question.
I will go last.
Dang.
Okay.
Bullying is such a complicated topic since what counts as bullying is such a gray area.
There's a difference between teasing and bullying. I believe that bullying is when someone has anger, hatred, or ill feelings towards you. When it's someone that's teasing you, whether it's a friend or family member, to get your reaction or to play a joke, they don't have any ill intent towards you. They're not trying to make you feel less than. They're not trying to make you feel bad. That's more teasing. Bullying, people are trying to bring you down and make you feel bad.
So
It's a purposeful...
So I
act.
definitely understand where that's coming from, but even that definition itself has problems, because how do you decide intent in that way?
It is a little
Intent
confusing.
is the most traumatic experience I had all the way back in primary school. So we were all lining up to head off to the library. So I was really thirsty at the time, and the water fountain was literally just a few steps away, just across the hall. So I got a drink, and I was going to walk back to my place, where then some kids started shouting at me, "No, you can't go back to your place in line. You have to go to the back of the line." I froze there for a second, uncertain what to do. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just go to the back of the line. Then suddenly, 2, maybe 3 other kids start shouting, "No, he should get his place back in line because he didn't really leave for very long." This started a war in the whole classroom line where every single person was shouting at me what to do. And for a kid who was, I suppose I was probably like 7 at the time, it was terrifying, honestly. I froze up, and then some kid grabbed me and dragged me to the back of the line, and that was... I was pretty much scarred for the rest of the day because I felt like I was just some horrible person for even daring to get out of the line and start this conflict, and that somehow, no matter what I did, it would be wrong. Does this really count as bullying? Because some of the kids in the line, especially's point wasn't to make me feel bad at all. yet it still had this traumatic effect. I would say I would have had less traumatic scarring for it if everyone just agreed for me to go to the back and said it just like that. Then it wouldn't have been that crazy in my head and I just would have gone to the back.
Don't stand up for people.
No, that's not what he's
Let them
saying.
send them to the back.
Are you saying that like it's a very complicated issue?
I'm going to say bullying, and when it comes to people's feelings in general, you're definitely not going to make it through life without being hurt. Whether that be someone's purpose, or whether that be pretty much accidental, whether it be by one person, whether it be by a group. And the best things we can do is learn how to handle it, and learn how to grow from it, and hopefully try and stop yourself from harming people. And that requires a lot of communication.
Hunter, you want to talk about bullying that happened to you at home?
This is the P-Dog's fault mainly. He was quite a rascal. He was a big annoyance, always trying to like straddle the line between what would be either teasing and then often kind of jumping over the line and going straight into bullying. It never really got as bad as it was, except when he had his friend over. His friend was a really bad example to him, and it caused endless of what he and his friend probably just thought was teasing to me, but what honestly was really damaging to me for a really long time. There were many pranks that Parker would play on me that, in retrospect, can be kind of funny, but yet again at the time seemed pretty damaging. There are several times where he'd do the simplest things, like just hiding around a corner to jump out at me and putting salt in my cup randomly. One time I nearly threw up because of it.
I remember this. He sets up 2 cups. He goes, okay, Hunter, you have to drink one of them. He said you have to. One of them has salt, one of them doesn't. You better get lucky. They both had salt.
In fact, I think I nearly threw up a number of times.
And so he
I
drinks
always
one
had a
with the
problem
salt.
with it.
Starts like gagging, so drinks the other one, thinking it's not salt to help. They're both salt.
Uh-huh.
And so like we're laughing at this, and like and you know, I think it's okay to laugh at it now, but at the time,
Yeah.
like Hunter really was bullied when we were younger, like by Parker and I. Like I also helped a lot in this. I knew about this.
There was another friend in the neighborhood, started to hang out with him less and less because I didn't really like the way he acted or treated people.
Oh yeah, and so me and my friend, we were playing Minecraft, and then Hunter comes in and he's all like, "Hey, can I play?" Do you want to tell this
I think
story?
we have
I
two.
remember
I think we have
this.
two
This was
different
ridiculous.
memories actually. If you want to finish telling that one, I was thinking of a different case.
Oh shoot.
I remember this one.
We would just go off on him all the time. And I feel like awful about this, but we would go off on how much time he played video games and his weight. And it was terrible. It was awful. And so, but I would never say it in front of Hunter's face. So he walks in and Hunter's like, "Can I have a turn?" And my friend just got so upset and he was like, "Well, you're fat and you need to work out. And you're gonna like get even fatter so you can't play." And I was like, anyway, that friend left. At that time, I would just blame it all on him, but I mean, I was just as much as the problem as he was. Because I was saying stuff like that, not to his face, but on the sidelines.
I also remember that happening. Actually, do you remember that like Hunter was wanting to play and our friend just started going off, like really upset.
Yeah,
And
drama.
started calling him fat and how he needs to go out and work out and not play video games because that's a waste of time. Let's just
As we
hypocritical.
had played video games for 3 hours, first of all.
Yeah, it was very hypocritical and it wasn't within good meaning. So it's like, you know, there's something like there's definitely a fine line between teasing, and I liked what you said, Mom, kind of this idea of, oh, well, you're playing around and you have good intentions. But whenever the intentions become bad, have you been bullied before?
I've
Huh?
only been once
Really?
in 6th grade. I was in like a special class. I went there. I look at the paper and I was like, okay, my class is on that teacher. So I walked in. The classroom looks kind of different. It was the wrong classroom. Then this kid comes out. I was like, "Bro, are you lost?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, you gotta get your brain fixed, dude." So I was like, "Oh, okay." I forgot the rest of the story. I just know like some dude just came up to me and just, I don't know, told me to get my brain fixed, and
That's awful.
yeah.
How did you feel after that?
I don't know. I just don't care at all. Like when he said that, I just like ignored it. I just don't care about it.
Bryen, how about you?
Not that I know of.
You've never been bullied.
No.
That's good. I'm glad he thinks that.
Yes, me too.
I think that
Don't
Bryen,
care.
he does get bullied a lot, but he just doesn't take it. He just doesn't.
No.
He doesn't accept it.
No.
Because he knows who he is.
That's a good point. If we allow bullies, to affect us, that we can choose to ignore them. We can choose to.
Don't care.
You don't have any stories, Bryen, before we go to Ray?
Not that I realize.
Do you think Parker bullies you?
No.
Do you think Nick bullies you?
He's a big pain in the butt, though.
Does Aaron bully you?
Mostly Nick.
I know one story what happened at Christmas time when Nick bullied Bryen.
I feel guiltily offended with that.
So Bryen, okay, so it's just like Bryen opened his present. So he got his toy. It was like an Optimus Prime Transformer. So what Nick did, he grabbed it, puts it on the way top of the fridge that Bryen can't reach for it.
Stop making me feel bad.
And then Bryen starts jumping, and it was like, I can't reach.
I can't. I'm sick and
He
tired
was
of this
like,
story
what a
right now.
shorty, he can't reach for his toy.
I don't like this story. I don't like it at all.
And how did you feel? How'd that make you feel?
Offended.
Short.
Midget is a short person.
My ex Nick didn't even remember that. He might not remember that, but I just know
That is true. We did get Transformers. That's definitely true.
He remembers the Transformers, not
No,
reaching
no,
for them.
we actually did get Transformers.
So I think the biggest thing about bullies is, like, what they thrive off of is power and getting someone to submit to them. Everyone loves to feel popular. Everyone loves to feel like they are better than
They want
someone
to be
else, and that sounds
themselves,
awful, but it's human instinct to want to be better and to compare. And I remember in, like, I think it was 4th grade, I had someone who I'm actually friends with now, who we didn't get along at all. Like, I remember coming home from school every day crying. Like, I would get off the bus and I would just cry. And I would come home and I'd tell my mom about it. And my mom would be like, well, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you say this? And, like, it was hard because every day I would go into school expecting for that person to win. And knowing that that person was going to come out over me. It was a very vulnerable situation, especially because I didn't understand. It's like I didn't do anything to this person. I didn't deserve this. And it made me really mad.
Girls suck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Honestly, it's so much easier said than done, but to not let that person bother you, which I wish I had better advice than that because I didn't do great at that. I let that person get to me over and over and over again. And it's just learning to have that confidence in yourself and not let someone take you down like that. Knowing that you personally are a child of God and that you have worth makes all the difference.
Oh my
Does it
goodness.
take you down like that? Like what?
My beliefs about myself, like, I felt like garbage.
I feel compassion
Well,
about
like-
this.
I was a terrible person who could never stand up for themselves. I felt like there was no reason for me to stand up for myself, and I felt just hopeless. Like I could never win.
You gotta feel strong. You gotta feel like you don't care about it. Just go with the flow. Walk away.
Mine's actually not completely wrong.
The thing is, it's like bullies thrive off of your insecurities, and
Oh
they
my
find
goodness.
out what makes you tick. So basically, I mean, it's awful, but the best way to get rid of a bully is to get rid of your insecurities, which is hard, and it's a
It's
long
okay.
process.
I think another way to say that might be is maybe talk about your reaction.
Oh, yeah.
That's why do we tease Bryen so much?
Because he starts yelling and running around and
Because his reaction is so hilarious. Bullies thrive also on seeing that reaction, whether it's fear or hopelessness or sadness or whatever,
they steal that power. They can feel it running through their veins. It's illuminating.
There you go.
The strange way that I learned to adapt to a life where people will make fun of other people for their own enjoyment is in high school. I was in a law class, and I bent over, and I had like a plumber's butt sticking out. You know, I'm sure everyone's familiar. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the little kid. My weight doesn't exactly help hide something like that. So some kid behind me goes, "Oh, you got a plumber's butt. Are you studying to be a plumber?" And I'm like, so I decided I'd try and be sneaky. So I responded, "Yes, I had no idea you knew I was training to be a plumber. I'm glad you can tell."
I didn't practice.
I got
So
the whole
you
class to laugh at that reply, and instead of feeling like the one bullied, I instead, in a way, became the embodiment of the joke.
Overcomer.
Without really hating myself and without hurting anyone else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you have to be careful. Making yourself the butt of the joke.
No pun
Making
intended.
yourself the butt of the joke can be a very double-edged sword, because while it can get you away from the critique of others,
Yes.
sometimes your own views on yourself can be harmed very, very badly by that. Your best option is to find some way to slightly divert it and somehow make your view of yourself more positive while also pushing it out to the crowd. Though that's something that's really tough to try and figure out at the moment.
When in doubt, fart extremely
Pinky
loud.
out.
Just extremely loud gas.
And what does that accomplish?
When someone is really badly congested, it's so nice just to let it out. Makes you feel better. Well, yeah, I was a bully, and I know I was, and I knew what I was doing, though I wouldn't have thought it was as bad when I was doing it. You know, at school, I never picked around with kids. I honestly respected everyone there. But when I was here, I remember picking on Hunter and Ray a decent amount, mostly on Hunter. Kind of started when I had this mentality that, well, I'm better because I could run faster and I could do more push-ups than Hunter, like things that don't define character. But to me, when you're little, I mean, I thought that meant everything. And I used to think, well, Hunter can beat me in some video games, but at least I could actually just beat him up.
I remember the first time I ever beat him at some of the favorite video games of his, he was mad. Because he was the older brother by 2 years, he had to be better at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this problem too with Mandy. I'm sorry, Mandy.
Oh, whenever I beat you in something?
Yes.
Haha. I remember I beat him one time in a game and he started
It
crying.
feels
And I was
embarrassing.
like, are you kidding me?
To be
Like
fair-
the one time I win.
To be fair, I put too much of my pride on the line there because I felt that was one of the only things I was good at.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like we would have our competitions and we would play games, and just losing infuriated me because I would think, well, I'm freaking better. That kind of started a really bad spiral, this mentality of I'm better than someone else. And that's where my intentions became more, what's the word, malice? Is that?
Malicious?
Malicious.
Oh, yeah,
that's the word. Because I wasn't just teasing, but I legit thought, well, I'm better than him. And this would make me entertained. It wasn't he would also find that funny at some point. I'm not gonna lie, I was really creative with some of the things I would do. I remember one time, me and my friend, we set up my mom's speakers downstairs. We found this app and figured out a way to make like this really scary sound. It was like a demon voice saying like, I have found your soul, and now I will kill you and take you to the underground.
Like
that was, and we thought, we're gonna get a kick out of this one. And the only person we had to use it on was Bucky. The only one that would have been, I don't want to say he was gullible, but he was a bit more believing.
This is what it gets really tricky. They had all these like crazy things, like there was like these sewer men or whatever living behind the friend's house, and always tried to frighten me with it.
I absolutely believe that was true, but I have a very large imagination. I did believe that was true. Actually, I did believe that we were. That's a story for another day. Actually,
Yeah,
we
at least when I was
had this recording and thought this is going to be hilarious. My friend, he goes up to Bucky in the basement where all the equipment is set up, and he goes, Hunter, there was a demon in a jail. Like, starts going on about some story and said, when the lights go out, it's here. When the lights go out, it's here. And he's shaking, and Hunter's like, what? And I flip the lights off, and I play this noise, and it's blasting through the basement. The
I am the demon and I have found your soul and will take
And then
you
to add on to it, they had me scream
underground."
from upstairs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And we had Ray scream upstairs just to
Screamed at
add.
the top of my lungs, "Help me, help me."
Where was I during
I
this?
don't know.
Dude, we gotta bring this memory back. I
And,
think we should bring it back.
and you know, it's hilarious, this idea of scaring somebody like that. But we did it with bad intention, and that's what it was. We got Bucky to the point of tears, and we just laughed. And I look back at that and I just hurt. I hurt for that one.
I can't remember most, if like much of anything of it. Yet maybe little flashes of just darkness and crying.
You were really young. I was really young, but I remember that still.
No, no, I just remember a lot of like us laughing at Hunter when he was like really upset about something. Like there was one time where like we really wanted him to jump off the treehouse to be like us. We wanted him to be like us.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted him to get to our level, and when he wouldn't get to our level, we would tease him.
Uh-huh.
And like I remember Parker was trying to get him to jump, and so he like pretended to lift him up, and he literally like, peed himself. He was so
Oh, I didn't
scared.
pretend.
No, he literally lifted me up.
I lifted him up.
Oh, well, he was so scared he literally peed himself. And Parker and I, we just sat there and laughed at him. Like, this poor kid is, like, lifted up against the side of the treehouse, thinks he's gonna fall off and, like, die. And we sit there and we laugh. And it was, like, it's terrible.
I was gonna finish with that story actually. That one changed me a little bit. I remember that happening, and Bucky goes inside, and Blake comes out, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like, he wouldn't jump. We wanted him to jump off, and he's like, "We need to talk." We went to my room, we sat down, and he just looks at me and he says, "Have you ever heard the story of Cain and Abel?" I was like, "I have no idea who that is. I don't know the story." And he says, it's a story from the Bible. I'm like, okay, like goodness, Bible story. Gosh, I'm just mad because Hunter wouldn't jump off the freaking treehouse. And he goes, Cain and Abel were brothers. Cain wasn't very willing to give a good sacrifice to God. And Abel did. Whenever Cain didn't give a sacrifice, well, he got less blessings, and so he got mad. And he ended up killing his brother. And I'm just sitting here like, I didn't kill my brother, and I didn't do anything about sacrifices, so I don't know where this story is going. After Cain had killed Abel, God spoke unto Cain, "Where is thy brother?" And Cain is like, "Dude, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And God responds, "Yes, you are. You are your brother's keeper." And Blake made that connection with me. And he said, "Look, you guys are different, but even still, you are your brother's keeper. You are responsible for him." And I felt awful. And I do remember going back and trying to make amends. And I still, today, try to make amends because I know the things that I used to do and that I didn't do a lot of good things. What's great is that people can change and that they do. And that if you find yourself in one of those situations, if you feel like you're not being your brother's keeper, you can change too. We all believe that we're all our brother's keeper, and that our brother isn't just family or future family or ones that are additions, but it's the world around us, because we're all children of God. And once we get that idea down, the bullying and the hate will go down. But it's once we all take that initiative of being our brother's keeper. Thanks, guys! Comment down below your favorite story. How should we bully Aaron next video?
I think he's a sleepy baby.
Very nice.
Where's the leak, ma'am?
Very nice.
We're on the same level.
It's a giraffe!
That's more impressive. That's so
cool.
space.
That's so baseline.
Comment down below. Let us know if there was a time that you were bullied or if you are being bullied. And let us know if you want us to touch more on this topic or what topics we should talk about to help you guys to be overcomers. Love you guys. Times again.
Excuse me, can you repeat that again? A dozen times?
A dozen times.
Against?
Bullying is a problem.
It doesn't look like
And
it.
also know that Bryen gets bullied, but he doesn't really know about it when he was younger.
No, I didn't.
Because Bryen didn't care what people thought. But
No,
we'll
because
get
they're
to
being
that.
stupid.